recording. Guys, this is the URL to grab the IP script. Now, just for the purpose of the video, this is what I ran. I'm not going to run it now. I did that on VM1. On VM2, I changed it so it said 2 here. And that sets all the IPs. So that will be part of the video. So guys, I have NFS already installed. Now I'm going to edit this file. VI, etc, exports. These are all the shares that I want to share out. Any share you want to share, you put it in this file, start the service, it will share it. It's not that difficult. I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to type in, guys, just to keep the 2 shares separate, I'm just going to call it NFS share, then later Samba share. So the first item in the line is going to be the directory you want to share. We haven't created it yet, but we will. The next one, this is a little bit different than we're used to in Windows. Permissions are assigned in this file, but you don't give user permissions to a share, you give computers. So by putting in *.contoso.com, that would mean anyone in that network. Or if I wanted to, I could put in the network address. I'm just going to stick with the, if I did this, it would only share with that machine. But if I put an asterisk in front, it's going to be a wildcard, meaning anyone in the contoso.com domain. Of course, it needs to be able to resolve those names to an IP so it knows if you're in contoso.com. So if you're not in the DNS as contoso.com, it won't allow you to have it. And then we define, the last part is what permissions, no space. Read only or read write.
Now you can't put the VI, you can't put the code, the number 777, so it gives you.
No. Now, here is the thing. When you share something on a Unix box to another Unix box, root on the client has, you can't block him from doing anything, right? So when you share something, if someone signs in as root on the client, by default, root can do anything he wants. So they program this that when you share something to another machine, someone signs on that other machine as root, the share sees them as the user nobody. So he doesn't have extra privileges, because if it was a true root account, he'd be able to do anything he wanted to anyone's files. You know, he should be the root admin for his box, but not necessarily for the server box. I'm going to override that behavior because we're just going to use the root account. So what we're going to do is, when they write the program and you share it, you share a directory out, and the process of them making root a nobody is called root squash. So I want to turn that off. So I'm going to say no root squash. It's in the book as well. You might not want to do this because it's someone in your organization, but just for this lab, we're just going to say no root squash. Guys, if I wanted to do another network, I could define another network here too if I wanted to. So you don't need to create multiple lines, you can just keep adding permissions after the fact. I'm going to save it, I'm going to press escape, right quit.
Would there be any reason why you'd want to put a loopback address in there?
No, why would you want to share it to yourself?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm going to save it. I'm going to start the server. I'm going to make sure it comes on at boot. I'm going to create the folder that we're sharing. With the old NFS3, the port was dynamic. You know how most servers have a static port? Well, NFS3 was dynamic and it kept changing every time you would start it. So it was next to impossible to put it behind a firewall. We're now using NFS4 that has the same port number every single time, so we can put it behind a firewall. Even with that said, you don't do network shares over the internet. Just like you don't do a Windows share over the internet, you're not going to do an NFS share over the internet. If you make changes to this file, like you add a new share or something, you don't need to restart the server. This has a utility in it that will allow you to reread that file. Export FS-R. So every time you make a change to your exports file, just reread it.
Professor, I noticed you keep installing programs and you know what's unblocking the firewall. Is there a list of what services are running that I would need to unblock if I were installing? Or would I have to look up for
Firewall CMD list services. Get all services, I think. Let me try get. That's the ones they know about by default.
Oh, okay. I understand.
If it's not one of those, then you have to specify the port number manually with the protocol, TCP or UDP.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, I'm going to go over to my other server. Now this is going to be our NFS client. Guys, they talk about integrating Kerberos into this. I'm not going to do the Kerberos. It's not difficult, but I didn't want to set up a Kerberos server today.
Can you also enable that Kerberos server on that NFS server? I don't know if you have to separate it.
No, you have to install the Kerberos server, create your keys. You can put it on the same NFS server, or you can have a Kerberos server just handling tickets. So guys, I'm going to create a test directory. I'm going to sign in as root. mkdir test dir, just to test mount it. Mount type NFS VM1 NFS share to test dir. Guys, don't hit enter yet. Let me just make sure this works. It does. I'm going to explain the format after everyone gets done typing.
So the NFS is the type of file you're using?
File system type.
Yeah, file system type.
It could be Cifs, which is Samba. It could be NTFS. It could be ext3. It could be XFS. Whatever file system type. Guys, this is just a file system type, just like FAT32. It just shows you how to access these files across the network. This can ride on top of NTFS. It can ride on top of XFS. It can ride on top of ext3. It can ride on top of FAT32. The underlying file system that's local to the server has no bearing to the network file system.
We don't have to open.
Just like you can create on a Windows box, you can create a network share on a FAT32 file system or an NTFS file system.
Do you have to open the firewall and server too? Or not?
No, because I'm not hosting.
You have read and write on NTFS without installing a third-party wrapper or anything like that?
No, we defined read write on the other machine, on the server. So when we set up that other line in there, we said RW, comma. When we set up the exports file. Cat Etsy exports. We said read write for any machine in our domain. This isn't really that secure. That's why you don't share it on the internet.
Did that file have anything, like, did that file exist before we did that?
It was, because the service was already installed, but it was completely blank.
Yeah, that's what
Okay, cat, Etsy, host. This is, which machine are you on?
Two.
You need to type these two lines on that other machine. Because you can't resolve the name. Adam said, type those two lines and then, okay, touch, test, dir, what, sorry, I'm on the wrong machine, guys. Give me 1 second. Touch,
So you created file one.
What does touch do?
Create a button.
Or, and what else does it really do? It updates the access time if the file exists, meaning when was the last time you edited the file. If it doesn't exist, it creates a blank file and then updates the access time. So touch is really supposed to update the access time. With the touch command, you can change the time that you last accessed this file to any date that you want. If you want it to look in your system that you touched this file, you edited this file last, the same day as the Gettysburg Address, you can do it.
Why would you want
Just
to?
in case.
Because your teacher said that this was due on this date. And you hacked the server and you changed the date, so you got it in on time. I wanted to give you an example that was relatable.
That's relatable. You're expecting all of us to go hack.
Okay, so that's what it really is for. But everyone uses it to create a blank file. So I'm going to go back to server 1 and look in that directory, cat NFS share. No, I'm going to do list NFS share. And there's the file I created. Now the book doesn't go into how to automatically mount this, but we have two ways of mounting: the AutoFS that I showed you last time with the iSCSI, and this file here, cat @CFS tab.
Whenever you put it in that, it automatically.
So anything done here is mounted at boot. What do you think would happen if you decided you were going to mount network shares using this file and your network was down? It won't boot. Try to avoid using this file to do remote mounts. That's what AutoFS is for. AutoFS will allow you to boot up first, and then when you go into the directory, that's when it mounts it automatically, not at the time of boot. So if it's a local file system, a local device, use this file. If it's going to be a network device or something like that could potentially not be available when you boot, go with AutoFS.
So didn't you just change that by doing a ping command to that server and the server's up? Then it was end, or is that?
This file is read. It's not executed. It's a data file. Some other process is reading this, reading those lines, and then executing another command.
So we can read and write because it's not formatted for this machine as a partition.
It's not a partition at all. All it is I'm sharing a folder. So you don't format a folder. That folder's on a hard disk. That hard disk is already formatted. Incidentally, I don't care what the format is because over the network, this is the format. It's not, I don't care if it's NTFS, I don't care if it's FAT32 on that remote machine. When it comes across the network, this is the file system I'm using. And a file system is just a way to access a file. This has its own definitions that are different than ext3, FXS, NTFS. So guys, I'm going to unmount it with the umount command.
You're on.
Umount tester rm-rf tester to delete it.
That's for machine 2, right?
Yeah. Because that was just a test mount. Do you want me to bring this to the top?
We want on VM1 or VM2?
I'm on VM2.
What's the RF flag do?
Recursive force. Not only do I want you to delete the folder, I want you to delete everything in the directory.
So what would happen if
So
you
it's
just
delete the directory and everything in it.
What if you just delete the directory?
It won't, it'll give you an error because there's content in it.
Okay.
But guys,
I would think there was a...
don't run this command. What does this do?
Why does
everything out?
Tire.
Deletes everything.
Does it give you, you sure you want to do this? Does it?
Why does it even?
Because we're overriding it by doing the force. Because we're running an alias. By default, remove doesn't prompt you for anything. So we don't really run the remove command. We run an alias that says, when someone runs remove, don't run remove, run remove -i, which is interactive. Meaning, prompt you before you do something stupid. But we're going to override that behavior, because we like stupid things, and do the -f. So you got to be careful with that RF. Okay, so now guys, we're going to yum install RFS.
You're still on machine 2, right?
Right. We want to auto mount that NFS drive when we go into it. Guys, I'm going to clear my screen. Do I need to show that last command? Did everyone see it?
Yeah, well, once, install what? Because I can't.
Install RFS. I'm going to clear my screen so I can go to the top. That's what I ran.
So just out of curiosity, so if you were doing like that EOF thing for like the first file where it literally had nothing in it for exports, like you could just do the line.
Okay, I'm just going to do it in this directory. I'm in my, so I'm going to do cat into exports, but I put it in the fully qualified path. EOF.
You have to put, it would be Etsy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but of course I'm not going to redo the. Oh well, I can redo the original
Yeah, it's only
file.
one line. But
Yeah, but let's just assume I was on VM1. Just to answer his question, and I would do NFS share *contoso.com rm dash no comma no
root squad.
We all doing that?
no.
And then EOF at the end. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I
RM.
was getting what you were saying.
Okay. Now, so guys, I'm going to VI Etsy. I'm going to clear my screen. Just like we did in the iSCSI. Guys, I'm going to hijack this line. I'm going to do YYP, comment out this line, and change this to mount. So basically, when you read the auto.mist file, mount all those directories under the MNT directory.
How do you use fork drive again?
YY to copy, P to paste.
Okay, I'm gonna have to save this. Something stupid.
So you don't want I use the key editor?
You write that you use to edit. So.
So everything under auto.mist is going to be mounted under the MNT directory. Are we good, DJ?
Yes.
So I'm going to hit escape, :WQ to write it. Now I'm going to add it Etsy auto dot miss.
But don't you need the hard drive ID? That's what you did last time.
Yes, but I was doing with hard drive. Now I'm just doing shares. There I was sharing a hard disk. Now I'm sharing a folder. Okay, I'm going to go to the bottom, $, lowercase o. $, lowercase o will bring me to the bottom. NFS share. Guys, I'm going to match the names, but it doesn't have to match. I could put any name I want there. So under the MMT directory, it's going to automatically create another directory. I don't need to create the directory ahead of time. So when I start the service, it's going to create that directory for me automatically. Because remember, inside of auto.master, I said read the auto.miss file, and on the left I said what directory will it be under? The MMT. Want me to go back to the other file to show you real quick? Okay. So the file system type is what? The other option we want to add is read write. Now guys, in Windows, the UNC path is server name, the resource. Now in Linux, it is server name, : yeah, the resource. In this case, it's going to be the full path of that share, which will be NFS. This is the name over on the server. So in this case, we're going to just do VM1, because we can resolve VM1 to an IP, NFS share. Up here, it's giving you an example. Server name, the share that they're giving. Server name, the share. Save and quit. Guys, I just want to go back up to this command where we did the test mount. Same format. Server name, share.
Professor, if one of those directories are untenable, what happens?
When you go into it, nothing will happen. There won't be any data. Guys, so list MNT, there's nothing there. System, control, start, NFS, nope. AutoFS, system control, enable, AutoFS, list, MNT. Still nothing there. CD into MNT, NFS share. It won't mount it till you go in the directory. You can't tab complete because the directory isn't there till you mount it. If you reboot this machine, that share will be available to you next time you go in that directory.
Because you mounted it, because you got it on auto mount.
Because I have it on auto mount. If I mount something manually and reboot, it won't be mounted again after the reboot. Okay guys, let's do our first break and then we'll come back and do the SMB.
Hey, Brian.
Should get some iced coffee. Been a long morning.
I know. Yeah, you can automate everything.
Well, I know, well, yeah, obviously. But, well, I was gonna show you something. So I could go in and then do.
Just passed me by earlier, did say hi.
Yeah, it is. Huh? Why? Well, wait, but I could do that, right?
You could, but you're gonna, like I said, you're.
Brian, thing with
What? That seems like a good idea.
Well, no, I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to show you an easier way. Cat Etsy auto dot master.
just got
Okay, so you see this right here?
Mm-hmm. Everything is.
Copy. Said IE substitute that whatever you want to substitute for. Let me paste it again, and let's just say I want to make it MNT. So I need to escape things. / global Etsy auto.master. Cat Etsy auto. I hope that spaces are right. It doesn't look like the spaces are right. No. This is how many spaces? 1, 2. Let me fix those spaces. 1, 2. 1, 2.
See, you're working yourself to death.
No. It's probably this that I don't need to escape this. But you can use sed. Trust me. Sed is, instead of rewriting the whole file, because when you rewrite the file, you got to be careful because you're changing permissions.
Well, I'm exporting the entire file. I exported the entire file, copied it to the desktop.
Yeah, but then when you do that, you're changing permissions. You gotta make sure
good, how about you, Mark? And by once I get my hands on that case, like physically get the case, that's when I'll buy the books. Oh wow. Apparently people are struggling just to get the 3900X. PC World Mag. PC World hosts had a price they're running in eBay right now.
Scroll back up.
Yeah, I'm seeing one.
That's okay.
Here, you want me to see my history?
Yeah.
Don't worry about this sad stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. My last bill was billed in 2013.
I just want to see if this will work.
So I'll go overboard on parts.
Hey, why don't you just tab instead of putting spacers? Because that's all it is.
What?
It was just a tab, not a. Can you tab in that line?
Yeah, I have to use extended expressions.
780.
Give me 1 second.
Right.
Yeah, it's a tab, and I got
No? I don't know. Intel State lost right too. I said that he's starting to struggle.
That was it. I don't have to comment out the hash mark. I don't have to escape the hash. Okay. That edits this. You know, I could edit if I want. Guys, right here, this is a tab mark. That's a tab.
So if you don't have VI installed?
Normally, no. If you want to automate it using Git.
Oh.
Okay. So guys, where would I set the permissions at
For what?
for NFS?
On the server.
Yeah, you set the permissions on this share. I did no root squash list dash long root. The permissions for this is root has read write control. That's why I did the root squash. Okay, so guys, we're going to go back and we're going to do the SMB. I gave an example command of using sed.
Sed, like S-E-D?
Yeah, which is, it's on the video.
Okay.
That's not it.
Make sure it's on VM1.
This.
Or VM1, sir?
Yeah, go to VM1.
That's it.
So that's the command. Just for it's on the video, you can pause it.
Got it.
Okay, so now I am going to. I'm on VM1. I'm going to install. I'm going to clear out my screen so we can.
Fun. Samba. Got it. Samba.
Guys, that's what they call it. Small message block, or server message block. The name kind of got lost over the years. Depends on which book you read. And they just do a couple of A's in there and call it Samba. Okay, that's where we got the name.
They must have watched too much Line Code.
I think it was done way before that. I think it was the, is there a Spanish dance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Salsa?
Brazilian.
Brazilian, okay, Samba.
Oh,
Samba.
yeah, Brazilian.
You gotta look this up now.
Hang to now.
Dance around the swells.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, just to match our naming convention, I'm going to call it SMB share. MKDIR SMB share.
So we're doing different types of shapes. Is that what we're doing?
Now this is going to be compatible with Windows clients.
So if we wanted,
To access it from Windows client, we could.
and then
And,
NFS would be for the
Mac would go with the NFS. It's Unix.
So NFS is for more of the Linux style operating systems, and then
Right.
SMB would be for the
Windows, but you can, there's Samba clients for Linux now, or Macs as well. Okay, guys, we need to fix SE Linux. I'm going to clear my screen so I can go to the top. Security enhanced, manage.
Because it's a SMB.
Right. We need to permit it to do things, guys. In the book, it'll give you a note about what it's doing. There's something else I did as well. SMB share, no space, so this is going to be for that directory and every file in that directory. Takes a minute. There's a whole special wiki for SMB on Linux in regards to the SE Linux security stuff. They just give you the commands. The book has some of the commands, but the book starts you off as a read-only. I want to do read-write right from the get-go. So guys, then we're going to run this command.
It's taking a little bit long if this is built.
Sorry guys, typo. Guys, I couldn't get it to work using the book lab until I ran this command.
Invalid.
So not the restore, but the one you turned on.
I'm assuming those were required as well, but this was an additional thing to turn on read write.
For Samba?
Right, for SE Linux.
And you found this online?
Yeah. I found a whole Samba wiki page on it. Just looked it up, it's 2 pages long. all the commands. If I want it to be read-only, I would change this to RO.
RO or just R?
RO.
Read only. So it'd be just R and then 0.
RO is in,
Just the letter O.
right.
Could you do WO to make it like a Dropbox?
WO?
Make it right only.
No, I don't think so. But I can do anonymous if I don't want any authentication.
There's no need for execution.
Okay, so guys, now we're going to edit the Samba comp file. This is a little more convoluted than NFS. Not only will this share files, it will also share printers.
You gave punchline.
I'm going to hit enter. CUPS, Common Unix Printing Service.
Oh.
It was actually developed by Apple.
So you can make an acronym out of anything.
Okay, so I'm going to go right below CUPS, Common Unix Printing Service. Right on that line, I'm going to hit a lowercase o. Not only do you have security as far as in regards to users, you also have security in regards to which computers you're allowed to connect to.
So we're making access control.
I'm showing you both examples. By the network ID or by the domain name. Either will work.
Is that period correct after the
Correct, it is.
You need to put like a
And
comma or
user
anything?
will.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you need to put a comma or anything?
No, a space.
So weird.
Actually, I think a comma will work as well. Yes, listen. The delimiter can be a comma, a space, or a tab. In Windows, you're part of what network initially? So if you're going to do this for Windows, in a non-domain environment, if you're going to create a network share for a bunch of Windows boxes, make sure you put workgroup.
So this is in the Etsy.
Etsy, Samba, SMB. It's Etsy, Samba lowercase, SMB.com. So I'm going to go all the way to the end.
All the way to the end.
Isn't there a command for that?
There is, but I'm already in insert mode, so I'm just hit the down arrow. Escape, $, then lowercase o to go back in. Okay, so guys, this is the name that I'm going to type on the clients. I'm going to make it match, but it could be whatever. I mean, it could literally be whatever. When you get to the clients, that's the share name, not the name of the directory. I'm going to have them match, but be aware, whatever name you type here is the name the share name on the client. So I'm just going to do SMB share. It doesn't have to match, but I'm just going to do it to keep the confusion down. Guys, instead of write list, I could put, this is in the book, valid users. By using a write list as opposed to the word valid users is read only, write list will allow them to write as well.
Does there need to be a space after that?
Thank you. So guys, I'm going to allow user 1 to write and anyone in the group faculty to write. And I'm going to put a comma in between. I don't think it's necessary though. It's not. You could put a comma, you could put a space, you could put a tab.
Can you put an or? And or.
Can I save it?
When you put a comma, do you have to put spaces after or no?
The example the book is giving is yes.
So there's spaces after the
Comma.
Okay.
Guys, if you want to verify you have no typos, I ran test pran. It processed that section, no errors, that section, no errors, that section, no errors, that section, no errors. Everything was okay.
Is that for anything you touch via or?
No, that is only for smb.conf. Guys, and then when you hit enter, it displays the file. I'm going to press clear and show my history.
Wait, what file did it display?
It displayed etsy.samba.conf or etsy.samba.smb.conf.
Why am I missing some information? What it displays?
You shouldn't be missing anything.
I'm missing like one half of it. This good? Isn't there supposed to be something underneath here?
No.
No? It doesn't show the faculty. Oh, it is.
Okay.
But I put a comma. Why did it go back to space?
User add.
Add.
Guys, what am I doing with the dash S?
Sorry, inside.
No, in this particular case with user add.
Service?
Shell. Basically, we normally use bash, echo, $. Okay, so if I tell a user, you have no way to execute commands, it's for like a security feature. So basically, this user can be used to access this share, but if someone gets on the Samba server itself and tries to sign in with that user, they won't even be able to sign in. So I'm just creating a user account so I can make sure that I'll be able to share with that user account, but not be able to sign in with that user account.
We're gonna also create a.
So when they mount that network share, they're gonna mount it as that user. I'm gonna also,
Create a group.
I'm gonna create a group and add a user to it so you can see that as well, if you're a member of that group.
Is that the same thing as, you call it sandboxing, or?
Well, you're not really sandboxing, it's kind of like a service account. You know, imagine starting your web server with a service account. You don't want anyone signing in with that user account, but it's just used to start that service. If that service gets hacked, the most permissions they'll have is what U1 has. So I'm going to do a group add, faculty. I'm going to do a user add, uppercase G, faculty. And I'm not going to lock this student down. I'm just going to be like a normal user account. Echo. I'm going to set the password for both of them. That's our traditional Unix password.
If you wanted to make sure that they can see the history.
Yeah. Now guys, Samba has a separate password database. So not only do we have to set the normal user password, the normal Unix password, we also have to set the Samba password. So I set a Samba password for user 1 and user 2.
What does the dash mean?
I don't honestly, I don't know. SMB.
Oh, add user.
So we're adding the user to the Samba password database.
So then, how would you, like, if you were gonna automate that, how would you do it? Because you have to, like.
Actually, this time you gave me the answer. Who would have thought?
Okay, let me try to see if this will work. I'm going to create a fake account. Give me 1 second. User, add, fake. Echo, SMB, password, -A, U1. It would echo the first one, but not the second one.
When you have to make a variable, then.
Wait, if you look at, what is A again? If you look at the SMB.
Add.
Can you make a variable and then set that variable to that?
No, he's trying to redirect that password into a process.
Okay. Oh.
We'll play with that later. I don't want to get distracted.
So the other command you did there, echo the password and pass the read, was that flag there you put? --.
Unix does not support this, but Linux does. Get the password from standard in. Allow the password to be redirected into that command, or piped into that command. So I'm echoing the word password, piping it into this command. Unix will not accept the pipe.
Is that GCC?
No, GCC is just a compiler. So basically, I'm just saying get it from standard in, meaning allow it to be accepted via pipe.
Is that the standard in of batch?
No, this program, literally, that switch means allow it to come in from a pipe. You know, normally, there's a security risk right here. People can physically look over my shoulder and see my password. So Unix prevents that. But, so if you ran this on a Mac, they wouldn't accept it. They don't have this switch. So if you try to echo the password in, you'll get something like what we did with the Samba password. Okay, so guys, list long root. Here's our NFS share. Here's our SMB share. So I want to make user 1, the user owner, group, faculty, the group owner. So I'm going to, guys, I can't remember which is Unix, which is Linux. So I'm going to do the one I remember. Change own, user 1. Guys, I can't remember if Unix is a dot or Linux is a dot. Linux will accept the Unix way of doing it, so I'm just going to go with this. The Linux way might be just a dot.
I think that I remember thinking like that. Because it's unit. Yeah, it's dot. I think it's dot.
And I'm going to give the user owner full control, the group owner full control, and the world nothing.
So this 770, is that?
It's rewrite,
End up turning
execute
the bits on and off.
for
Look, I have 9 bits.
owner and rewrite execute for group, and then
User owner,
no.
group owner, everyone else. Read, write, execute. Read, write, execute. Read, write, execute. 7. 2 to the 0 is 1. 2 to the 1 is 2. 2 to the 2 is 4. If I say 7, I'm turning all bits 1. Read, write, execute. So that was 7, 7, all bits on. 0, all bits off.
I still remember your process. It's almost been a year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The next day.
Yeah. Don't make the boy cry.
There's another set of bits.
Yeah. We'll get to that later.
Guys, I'm going to start Samba, and they have this like NetBIOS thing as well to resolve names, because remember back when Samba was first invented there was this NetBIOS component to it, so I'm going to start both.
And then B is NetBIOS?
Yeah, like NetBIOS manager or something like that. So you have to start both services. Enable them to start at the boot. When you install Samba, install that as well. Again, with the firewall. Reload the firewall. And the server's done. Guys, if I want to add 3 more shares, all I have to do is edit the SMB, set up the folders, set the permissions.
You have to rerun that command to chip where you scan the file, right?
So you don't have any typos, you have to restart the service. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump over to the second machine and test mount. Guys, I hit CD, so I'm in my home directory. I'm going to make a test mount folder. Mount-O, username equal U1, password. Guys, if you don't put the password here, I'm not going to put it here. It'll prompt you. I'm not going to put the password there. VM1, that's the server name. Remember, I can't use the backslashes. That's the escape character. So I have to use the forward slashes. SMB share. And I want to mount it to tester. But first, I need to install software. I need to install SMB client and CIFS software. Okay, I'm going to install Yum. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you asking for, Josh? Okay. So Samba client, because I got and CIFS utils. Now when I run the mount command, it'll mount.
This is the command again?
Okay.
The one you use for install.
History, grep for Yum.
Pull all the inputs.
What was, if you were going to put the password in there, what would you have done? You just would have done space password.
You mount.
Oh,
If your script is testing it, don't test mount it. Just have faith in yourself. I'm only doing this to test. I'm going to unmount it and integrate the password. Which will be self-evident that it's not a very secure way of doing things. I unmounted it using the U-mount command, not the unmount command. And I did it again, but I've integrated password right in that line. Someone sees my history, they'll know the password.
Why is it asking me for a password?
Go with the second one.
Mistype it.
No, just type the password. The first time I ran it, I didn't automate the password.
Just denied me permission. What was the password?
so is this
Key
mount
one-
persistent then?
Word?
I'm sorry?
This one isn't persistent either.
You created the password.
Correct. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to use AutoFS.
Hey, Brian,
If I,
Yeah.
send my hostess down.
if it was mounted to a
It just
Windows
telling me
box,
that I
would it
don't know my
persist?
password.
It would when you did this. Look, guys, in Windows, while you have
Oh, you know what?
this ribbon bar at the top
Never mind.
is context sensitive.
I forgot. I didn't put a password in here.
So here's the ribbon bar. So if I highlight this PC, then go to computer, I have this. Reconnect that signing. Check that box. Here you're going to put in U1 and the password for this sign-in. Guys, you won't have that if you highlight any other folder. If you highlight this PC, you have that right there. If If you have, anyone uses DNLA or anything like that to share media, that would automatically access that. You know, if any shares are browsable and you had a master browser, you'd be able to find stuff through that. Okay, so I'm going to automate this, guys. Who can read auto.miss?
I can.
Everyone. There's no security. I don't want to store a password in auto.miss, because if you do, anyone can get it.
Still saying I'm down.
It's still saying what?
I'm down. The host is down.
Okay. Listen. Can you resolve that name? Ping. CS09. IPVM1. Okay, compulsive. Okay, so you need to go over here and make sure that no, you need to make sure your firewall is open. Did you reload it? Did you start your Samba service?
Samba service, start.
Let me.
I don't know what I do.
You didn't read that.
Right, no,
You didn't read the network down.
I didn't need to because.
Yeah. I'll connect.
Cars on the share.
Something wrong. Were you supposed to put that on top of
Yeah.
Yeah.
SMB share password.
Because I might have forgot to put one in. I just hit enter.
Yeah, go echo, no, SMB password, -A, and then U1, -A users.
On what's in
On the server.
Hmm?
On the server, not the client. One is the server, two is the client.
Okay, you said echo.
No, not echo. That was to create for the user is SMB password.
SMB password.
Yeah.
-A,
Dash A.
and then U1.
U1.
Enter.
And how much? Enter.
Enter the password. Do the same thing for you.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Don't see a problem. Oh, you forgot a dot right here.
Oh, that again? Okay.
No, it's 16. Get rid of the 0. Get rid of the 0.
Okay, I see.
Well, leave that dot there.
Okay.
Then restart. Okay. So guys, I'm going to touch in my home directory SMB credentials. I'm just going to credential.txt.
That's on the
I am on
VM2.
Still
VM2.
I don't understand what this is. It says not Aaron.
Did you make the drive?
Oh, listen. Okay.
No, it's at the email. Oh. Something so simple.
Now, I'm only going to allow the root user account to read this file. So I'm going to lock it down. So I'm going to store my credentials in there, and the only person who can read this file will be root. Root, SMB, AutoFS runs as root, so it will be able to read the file. But if someone looks at the at the auto.miss file, they won't be able to see the password.
That's like the shadow.
It's kind of like shadow. But we're going to put the user account name and password in it. So, VI, tilde, SMB, cred, text.
Is there a way to make permission specific UMask?
Wait, hold on, wait.
Give me 1 second, guys. Let me clear this.
Wait, don't do it.
Stay in the file if you're in it. If you hit enter, stay there.
I think UMask.
Mine didn't,
UMask is
Okay. Am I good?
Wait a second.
Would you type faster if I stood behind you with a big stick? Would you type faster if I stood behind you with a big stick?
No, not really.
Okay, so I'm going to go in here, user name equal U1, password equal our password. Keep in mind, U1 does not exist on this computer. U1 exists only on the server. So every time we connect, it's going to mount it as U1. Guys, if I had a bunch of shares, one for each individual person, I would go to each of those user accounts, create a custom scale that has their username, some process that will execute their username and replace it with their username. So I would have one of these files for each of my users if I wanted to have them sign in as different individuals. Right now, I'm just going to map a share. Everyone will be mapped to the same name. WQ to save it. Okay, let's take a break. Because I feel after we get to the next point, we're just going to have a lot of errors, and I'm going to do a lot of walking around. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and finish this up, hopefully.
hey Brian, can you go to the other computer real quick so you can see? If you do for a big account.
Username.
Just do echo. So put in parentheses. So there's parentheses. No. Yeah. But all the way over. Do parentheses echo. Open parentheses. Open parentheses.
Like this?
Yeah, parentheses. And then after PA one word, put a semicolon. Space echo. PA one word. Close parenthesis.
So you're passing everything in.
Twice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. Yeah, but I don't want to keep doing that because I want them to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it up here.
Oh, gotcha.
So when I switch to my password,
Okay, so hit bang 33. So bang 30. Okay, done. Go and
So Ryan, could you not just do here? Could you not just?
Oh, yeah, sure. My intent is not my hardware.
You want to do something?
No.
Then that's good.
Yeah.
Josh will do anything to get out here early.
Not intentionally, it's just like, I feel like it's better to learn that.
Question. I've seen that you can integrate Linux with AD. And I know that it could replace a complete file server. But the way I'm thinking, like, let's say if we did integrate this with AD, how would the authentication work for mounting it to Windows machines? Because normally that's like a Windows share. Authentication happens in the back.
Because it understands Kerberos tickets
Uh-huh.
and it understands LDAP. So the same way a Windows box would authenticate with Kerberos and LDAP,
It'll just understand.
Right, but the nice thing is with Red Hat 7, they have a graphic utility.
Is it Russian? Russian.
Really. Sometimes it's so relief, but they don't feel like it's all the same thing. So good.
There's a graphic utility to do this.
Yeah, okay. Because this is one of those places where you don't need a Windows license, you know. Like if you make a replace it.
Correct. It might not be installed by default, but there's a nice graphic utility.
Yeah.
It just, the domain name has to be in uppercase.
Okay.
In certain screens, in lowercase are not.
And that it just integrates on its own in the back?
No, you can, a graphic utility to join it to a domain just like a Windows. Okay, but the thing is, if you get people who start doing that crazy stuff with the uppercase and lowercase in the domain name, it's a nightmare to figure out. You know how it's really anal in Windows class
Right,
saying,
right.
all user accounts domain name, that's why. So I've been through that headache.
Okay.
Do you have it with?
And a domain name isn't something you can easily change.
No, absolutely not.
If they have.
So even with the integration, there's still issues if it's like lowercase or uppercase?
It needs to
Yeah,
all
I see
be
all the
uppercase.
pictures,
But when you join it to the domain, certain fields, the domain name needs to be uppercase. And all the whole name needs to be uppercase, meaning what's a Linux end.
Right.
It's lowercase at the Windows end, and then other fields need to be lowercase.
He's Russian?
Oh, okay.
So Kerberos, you have to supply the domain name uppercase. LDAP, you have to supply lowercase.
Oh, got it, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, it's just, if you get that in your construction company, you know, start bringing things from home, because they'll never get rid of it.
You ever had like bacon or sausage?
I'm gonna say bacon potatoes.
Normally I try to
Bacon?
Baking potatoes.
Oh, bacon.
Okay. You know, last time I bought something.
I really want some borscht right now. Oh my god.
2013, 2014. Maybe, it might have been.
Huh?
Right now, I was.
I've heard them to go Hollywood. I don't know if it's gonna be this late though. I'm looking right now, see if April's open. If I go there, I'll just say the chicken, right? That's just correct in the board. No, I close that right. It's encouraged.
Right.
It's still running, we're
Pretty much leases.
So we're running that time. I gotta create some boards.
You pay them for a warranty. You plug it in, oh gosh, send you over.
These are the shit you love.
Send you replacement on eBay.
Like the serve with potatoes and onions. So good. They're potato.
88%.
We actually love putting dill in everything.
You get a good.
Yeah, dill
right?
and potatoes.
That's why I say November.
Huh?
Dill?
Dill.
Always go for
Yeah.
November. Whenever they
It might be a
have
Polish
sale,
cookie.
you won't get it.
Yeah, Polish, Russian.
Whenever it was from the previous
Same similar food.
generation, they just tanked in the price.
Right. I have to go
Grab
that
some more, and then I think I'll leave for the next 5, 6, maybe 7 years.
Okay.
And I just put it in there, and I just, I get it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
They make these really cool pierogies. They're like dumplings, but they're bigger. They'll fit in the palm of your hand. You grab them from the top, and they're filled with broth. And like you eat, and it's so cool.
I've seen it on their internet, but I've seen it all the.
They're really
And then you
good.
put it in your mouth and you bite it, they explode.
Yeah.
some part
I've seen if they have a picture on there, but yeah, here they are. So they're so cool. You grab it.
So those are, at
Yeah, yeah, that's it. How do you? So you put those in driving. It's all good.
Show history? Do show history?
So you have one, but you just don't really play.
These are like
I don't know.
35.
No other way to have every another shot. You know what?
Do we still have transcenders in the computer lab? No, right?
No, we have Kathleen 19.
What
Depending what,
No, it's for a class. I just didn't think we had it in the syllabus. It's like outdated.
what kind of tests are you looking at?
Uh,
I guess it depends, because some of our tests might be.
Is the online,
it doesn't matter. It's like for the class. So he's saying, I just thought like maybe the syllabus was wrong. What are the hours of the lab?
The hours for the lab is 9 to, I think,
don't go by that, listen,
What are the summer hours?
listen.
summer.
Because you ran over there the other day not knowing they're closed, so I wouldn't go by him. Yeah. I'm not trying to insult you, I just say, call the front desk,
Saturday?
call the front desk and have them look at the sign on the door.
Yeah, I don't know about Saturday. And I now know it's a 9 to 7. They changed it since I was last there. I thought it was 10 still.
Usually when they come to the end of the semester, they shorten the hours. I noticed that,
Yeah, but
especially in the summer.
I'll just pull it up on my phone. See, I have summer hours on my phone.
Is this for everybody?
Yeah, let me clear the history so the people in the back can see.
I'll pull up the hours. Just give me a second.
This is the second server, right? Oh, so one.
I am on server 2. Guys, I just want to look at something real quick. Okay, we'll have a conversation at the end. Can I hit enter? So under the MNT directory, it's going to dynamically create the SMB share directory. This name has changed over the years. It used to be SMBFS file system. It's now called Common Internet File System. It's common to only Windows. You don't use it on the internet. It's a stupid name. Okay? So the file system we're using now is called Cifs. This stands for Small Message Block or Server Message Block. This stands for Network File System. This stands for Common Internet File System. Do not use it on the internet. It's not secure.
It's only Windows, you said, right?
It's only Windows.
So why are we using that?
Because they're the only ones who create that type of file system. This is backwards compatible. This has been backward engineered to work with Windows.
You can't use SMB here?
No.
No.
Back in the day, you could use SMBFS. That's what we called it. Then they changed the name.
I mean, what is it?
Yeah. Auto.
Guys, there's no server name here, so we just put that.
Auto.
Guys, when we put in the iSCSI, we didn't have to put the colon. If you leave off the colon, it doesn't work. So you have to put the colon. VM1, SMB share. Oh, I forgot something, guys. It's all one line, no
There's no spaces, right?
there's no anarchy there.
No anarchy.
So what's stopping someone else from using that file to log in and access those files?
Right now, everyone who logs in will mount that as user 1. I'm going to save it. No, I'm not.
No.
Something else?
I forgot the slash right there.
Oh. Got it. Oh, the slash is column.
Go to the root of the file system, go to the root directory. Inside of the root directory will be an smb.cred.txt file. Save it. Restart AutoFS. List MNT, nothing there. CD into MNT / SMB share. Touch, I can do a list. Touch test file.txt. Again, where do I set the permissions? On the server. So on the server, who created that file? You1. So I'm going to go here and CD into SMB share and look at the file. List long. Who owns it? If you want to do the set group ID on that, then at that point everything inside of it would be owned by faculty. If we set the set group ID, remember that, the special bit?
Right.
I'm not going to do that.
Can you go back to the?
What was the command
Yeah, I'm in a password entry required thing.
So,
I add permission.
cat, cat, root, SMB,
Correct.
Right.
did you call it SMD?
No. Well,
What?
I also don't know. I'm just stuck in this. Like, it
Control
won't-
C?
I tried. Wow, and then of course it did it. I tried that before. I tried it twice actually.
SMD dash C.
List long, MNT. Who owns that?
Oh, did I put an extra space for the
User 1001 is probably U1's user ID on the other box. User 2002 is on the other box.
What's it mean?
Uh-oh. If I get 770 instead of 101. 1001.
100. What do you have?
That's my.
You have 1001. That's what I have.
I don't. I have 770.
Mine says root.
I have two. Well, I have a.
Because you set the permissions as the user ID. Go to the other box and fix it. It's just, don't worry about it.
Right.
Well, I have.
Because it's denying me permissions from doing this because that's
Wait.
that's probably why.
Look, I'm gonna go back over here.
Okay.
You're gonna
Some probably did that.
change own. U1 faculty SMB share. Change mod 770 SMB share.
For him, right?
Only for him. So I'm gonna go back here. I want to show you something else. If I had a group locally that I want to have write access to that, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna exit out of here, just so I'm signed in as a student. So, who am I? Student. So I'm gonna CD into, or I can just do it. Touch, MNT, SMB, share. I don't have permission. So I'm gonna ask you as root again.
So you said change mod to dash SMB share.
But if I want to open up the permissions at the other end and go 777, I wouldn't have any problem. Because student is not part of that group. I'm sorry?
You said it was change mod 770.
Enter.
Okay.
Now go to the other box.
Fine.
One second, let me get past this and then I'll come around time. Okay. Listen, if you,
Okay, I fixed it.
if it says root, did you do these?
Okay, that fixed it.
No. Do the
I'm on R1.
change that.
Then try to restart AutoFS.
Thank you for the help.
Welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here. I'm signed in as root. I'm gonna edit auto.miss. I'm gonna clear my screen so I can go to the top. VI auto Etsy auto.miss. Guys, there's so many options we can add right here. There's all kind of things we can do. I'm just going to give you example one. Guys, I know what the permissions are. I know what the user ID for student is on this box. the UID equal 1000, comma, that's the student user on this box. The group ID equal 1000
Is the faculty?
is the group called student. That's the group ID called student. Escape. And I'm going to, guys, I can't restart AutoFS if I'm in the mount directory. AutoFS controls mount. You'll get an error. So I'm gonna make sure I'm not in mount, and I'm gonna do system control restart AutoFS. I'm gonna touch MNT, SMB, share another file.txt. No problem. I go over here, list long, SMB, share. If I can type it, I can still see it's owned by user 1 and user 1's primary group. If I do a list long MNT, who's it mounted by now? Who's right? So now, according to this box, user 1 is the user owner. The group owner is the group called student. So as far as student is concerned, it has write access. This can get very confusing playing with this SMB real quick. Because remember, I can start doing SMB with individual user accounts in their home directory. So it would mount every time they sign in, it could auto mount their home directory from an SMB share. So I'm going to exit out of here. So I'm signed in as student, then touch yet another file.txt. Go back to server 1 and see who owns it. Still owned by user 1 there. List, MNT, this long. Still student 1 here. You know, so you can play around with the permissions using the AutoFS. You know, some places will say use the FS tab. If you use the FS tab, you're just causing yourself headaches, because if that server isn't up when it reboots, when this machine reboots, then your machine will hang. And you have a bunch of people yelling at you.
What was the change you made to
Permissions, the number before and after the user and group.
That's because that's the default Unix permissions when you create a new file or folder.
1 and 0. Because on the other one it was like.
Oh, no, it is one copy of the file. I don't know, I forget what that 0 is. I don't have any links.
The times it's been touched or what?
No, the number of copies are on that file, or the number of pointers to that file.
Hey Brian, what was the change you made to that file?
I'll show you 1 second. Look, link, symbol, I'm going to do a hard link first. Source file, CD, MNT, SMB, shares, link, source file, destination file. List dash long. Now there's 2 copies of that file. 2 pointers to that file. Because I've done a hard link. I'm going to do a soft or a symbolic link. List dash long. Symbolic links don't add to the file count. hard links do. Okay, Josh, your turn. Cat, Etsy, Auto, FS, nope, Auto.miss. That's what I added, Josh. So I can dictate who mounts it at my end. So yes, when you write a file, you're going to write that file to the server as user 1. But I'm going to mount it as student at this end. Now here's the other thing, guys. I can put this as a variable. So whoever signs in, I can make a third user ID in their primary group and refer to $, I can refer to their home directory by doing $home in replace of root. It'll go to their home directory and look for their authentication file. And I would have to have that user account, of course, on the other side. Or I can just have one user account on the server end that everyone writes to that server, but over here, every time you create a file report, it'll be under your name. So there's all kind of things you can do with this. It's rock solid as far as once you get it set up. You know, we used to have Juilliard set up as an SMB server, and people just never took it down. It ran. You know what Juilliard, I had Juilliard set up as an SMB server, an SSH server, all presenting the same files, and a web server. Again, all presenting the same directories. You could access, remember Juilliard when we accessed it through the web? That was all a Linux box on the SMB. In fact, all the user accounts that I was using were linked to a Windows domain that I got through the firewall for the school because that Unix box was in the DMZ. So I opened up all the ports for that I needed for Active Directory using an SSH tunnel from the DMZ into the private network. Okay, guys, we have 3 days left. Do you want to do database, or do you want to say enough and just prepare for the final?
Enough.
When's the final?
Okay, you don't want to do a database server? The serve, that's what we're asking. The 31st and the 6th, and I'll do as much of a review as I can on the 29th.
You mean the?
Yeah. Can we choose
I'm
to
sorry.
take it on the 6th?
You cannot.
That's the bit, right?
Yeah, the 5th.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Okay. The 31st and 5th. If you choose to do only the 5th, you're boxing yourself into a corner. I don't think you're going to get done. When you see what I'm going to have you do.
I knew that was.
Okay, let's get ready to write this down.
Okay, so
What's the layout?
Team.
Okay, so teams.
So this, I want these two teams. It works fine.
Oh, so yeah, we never got one.
Are we doing it on ACE?
Yes, we're doing it on days. Okay, it works fine. And I want bind here. And we're gonna do this, talking more about in the review. Unbound here. iSCSI target server, which will be auto-mounted here. We're going to do, what was the other thing? And an NFS share and an SMB share. Again, auto-mounting. You're going to have to do all the firewall stuff all the networking stuff, all the host name stuff.
So basically, like VM1 is gonna have the team mix, iSCSI.
Does anyone have the book? Do you have the book with you?
Oh, yes, I do.
Could I borrow the book?
But you want all of that on VM1 basically, and then VM2 is where everything is auto.
Remember, this is going to be a caching name server. It's going to forward Contoso to here. All other requests will go to 10, 13, 25, and 27.
Right.
You're going to create a disk here.
And then auto mount to VM2.
Auto mount the disk to VM2. Create a share. Auto mount it. Two shares. Auto mount. What did we do with the first couple weeks of class? I know we had some problems.
The password, you said we're not gonna do that. The recovery of the password.
We did it with
Was the teaming
the
and-
DNS.
Yeah,
That teaming, I think, took like 2 days.
Team
Yeah, when we did port,
Then we did
we did firewall stuff, which we've been integrating into that. The DNS records, and we're good. So the only thing we didn't get done,
Then you did Apache. That's something.
the Apache is no. Look, guys, if I did the lab for Apache, it would do not just a website, it'll do a virtual website. So that's one thing we're missing, and we didn't do the database server. Other than that, we got through the book.
So this is what we're being tested on?
Yes.
What day?
Of the
31st.
31st and the
And
yeah.
it's a 2-part test?
No, it is one part that's going to take 2 days.
And it'll be on SAT, so you can do it at home too, right?
You know,
The review's the 29th?
the review is the 29th. Now, guys, the more you do via script, that would be good for me. I like, you know, just don't give your script to someone else. You don't write it and say, here you go, and let someone, okay?
Got it. Do you want to see his GitHub?
I don't care how you use it. I don't care if you put it on a thumb drive and get it, or cut and paste it, stream it from a cloud server, upload to D2L, email it to yourself. I don't care. GitHub was nice because you have that ability to do the raw.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to try to see what I can do in regards to putting the zone files so you don't have to retype them. Because I'm not concerned whether you can type a zone file. You know the format, it's just a typing test at that point.
Kept doing it always.
You know, you're going to have to create user accounts because I want your SMB share to be mounted properly. The iSCSI target server wasn't difficult. NFS was certainly not difficult. Again, you have to know all the firewall rules and stuff like that. Guys, I created videos for all of this. So when I do the review, I'm not going to record because I don't want it to be one big video that you just have to manipulate commands.
So we're not allowed to record either.
Correct.
Professor, so it's been like network file share, right?
Yeah.
And I said,
The 2 shares that we did today.
okay, and I said, Samba.
Okay, that's it for today. I'm going to stop recording.